Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. In today's video, I'm going to be making a honey soap, and I'm going to be making a lot of it, 24 pounds. So I'm just gonna walk you through the process of me doing that. And as you can see, I have everything already laid out here. I have my oils and my lye water, my colorants, my additives, all of it. Switching up the glasses here. Honey soap is a little bit of a challenge. It's not exactly a beginner soap, but I like to live dangerously. I've made a lot of soap by now, so I'm definitely not a beginner, but it's definitely not a soap that I would recommend most people start with right off the bat. So when I make a lot of soap, I like to break it up into different parts. So it's really 2 or 3 to 4 mini batches all in one big batch, and that gives me a lot of control. But in doing that, there's a lot of prep involved with that as well, a lot of calculations, and it is time consuming, but the end result is so nice. I have been making successful 24-pound batches using this method. So the first thing I'm going to do is blend that first base layer. I like to call the color that is not a swirl color, I like swirls by the way, my base color. And this color is gonna be a tan because I'm not gonna add any colorants to it. So it's gonna be the natural color of whatever the fragrance oil makes it. The fragrance oil blend that I'm using here is a blend of a few fragrance oils, and they all have vanilla in it. Vanillin? I think I'm pronouncing that right. They all contain vanilla or vanillin, which causes soap to turn brown over time. So I've separated those fragrance oils from the white swirl color, which just has a lavender essential oil in it and will not turn that soap brown. So hopefully that color will stand out nicely against the tan or brown color that I'll get using this fragrance oil blend here. So for this recipe, I'm using a blend of hard oils and butters and also some soft oils as well, which I pre-measured out, melted down, and put into this large container over here. And over here, I have my lye water. And there's a few things in my lye water that helps my soap stay hard, gives it a little bit more bubbles, a lot of good stuff which a beginner does not need to be adding to their soap. You'll make great soap regardless without all of this extra stuff, but if you want to elevate your soap making, I have recipes and I can show you how to use these extra stuff, all these extra additives on my Patreon, which is linked down below. So I'm just going to add the lye to my oils. Because of all the prep involved with making soap, sometimes when it's go time, I almost can't believe it. I just have to shake myself up a little bit and say, okay, it's time, let's do this. I'm gonna take my stick blender and stick blend everything together. Oh, before I do that actually, I'm going to be adding some colloidal oatmeal and kaolin clay. And these two ingredients are such beautiful additives in soap. They help make the soap feel really gentle. It's really soothing on your skin. And I have noticed a difference in the soap and how it feels and how it lathers. So I think it's worth giving it a try if you're a beginner and wanting to try new additives. I think clay tends to be safe. I blend everything to just emulsification, so a light trace for me. And I'm trying a new pouring technique where I'm going to be adding the colors to the main base color. So it's going to be an in the pot swirl style thing, which I have not tried yet. We'll see how well it turns out. I'm crossing my fingers here. So because it's an in the pot swirl, I want everything to kind of be close to a similar trace. So I'm not gonna be adding my fragrance oil to the base layer just yet. I'm gonna combine all the lye water to the oils first, get them all emulsified, and then add the things that might make the batter act funny. So that's the fragrance oils and also the honey. So that's a tip if you guys are playing around with interesting ingredients that might cause your batter to turn funny and wonky. Just get your soap batter blended first. It gives you a little bit of extra time so that you're not scrambling. So for this swirl color, it's going to be a yellow, or at least I'm hoping that it's going to be a yellow. I'm using annatto seed powder that I've added to my lye water, and the heat of that lye water has hopefully caused the yellowness of that annatto seed to leach into the lye water. And I say hopefully because I haven't tried this method before. I have infused oils with annatto seed, and that gave me a lovely yellow, but yeah, this is new. This is new. We're trying different stuff here. And that is why my lye water is this interesting brown color. And then we're going to add the colloidal oatmeal and clay for this soap batch. And then we're gonna blend. So adding the nanoseed powder to my lye solution has given me this brown color, which is not what I was hoping for. But hopefully this gold mica that I have dispersed in some oil will make it a little bit more yellow, because this color is just not a really good color right now. I mean, it's a good color, just not the color that I was hoping for. Do you see this? All right, so it made it a little bit more golden. That's good. Some of the ingredients that I'm using include shea butter and palm oil, and I've noticed with those two that when I use them in my recipe, if I've let the oils cool to room temperature, when I combine it with the lye solution, it tends to give me the illusion that it's speeding up trace, but it's really not. So it's one of those things where that thick batter would have caused me panic if I was new to soap making, but I have seen that before. I'm not gonna get tricked this time. So here's my white layer. Gonna, again, add my oatmeal and clay. I'm gonna give that a mix. So I have all of my colors ready to go. Probably a good idea that I'm doing it in the pot swirl. I'm nervous that it's gonna seize on me. It's always a risk when you are working with new fragrance oils and new fragrance oil blends. So let's start with the big guy. I'm gonna add my fragrance oil blend. This fragrance oil blend, the vanilla blend is what I'm gonna call it. It contains fragrance oils from a few suppliers, one of them being Village Craft and Candle. It's an oatmeal honey scent, or I think it's called warm oatmeal or golden honey. There's that, and then there's sunflower fragrance oil as well, which adds this floral, almost fruity essence to the blend. So all of that with lavender makes for such a soothing, calming scent, and I love it. We're gonna add our fragrance oil to the main guy. We're going to add the other vanilla blend to the golden color. And last but not least, our lavender to the white. Lavender essential oil. My goal was to make a really soothing soap, but not your typical oatmeal, milk and honey type of soap. So I'm gonna hand stir everything in. Do you see how chunky it looks? I think it's gonna be okay, guys. Oh, and it smells amazing. If worst comes to worst, I can just throw it in. I've done that before. Oh my gosh. Uh-oh. This is actually not what I was expecting. I don't think I have time to throw in the honey. It's just going crazy on me. So let's put everything together. I'm gonna throw this in here now. This is interesting, but it's okay. We're gonna keep going with it. When things are chunky like this, just give it a shake. Now I have my white color, which is still pretty fluid. All right, now I'm gonna pour my white layer, and I'm going to actually turn you this way. I'm hoping that the fluidness of the batter will get in there, or the fluidness of the white will crack into the pretty solid base layer. Just gonna keep going. Let us see what we can do here in terms of texturizing these tops, which is my favorite part. I love how fluid this white layer is still, which is a relief. least I'll be able to get one good layer out of it, you know? I did not even get my honey in. This will just be an oatmeal soap. So I won't be able to do my signature chunky ice cream tops, but this is still really pretty. Sometimes when you are making a large batch of soap, you can just hope for the best, plan for the worst. That was definitely the case here. But I think I'm still gonna get a beautiful soap out of it. All right, and now I'm just going to add a little bit more texture to the tops. Is this a necessary step? The answer to that is yes, always. Just kidding. This is not necessary. This is completely decorative. But you're dealing with artisan soap here, so. Time for some decoration with some oats. So this will be an oatmeal and lavender soap. That's fine. That's still soothing. It's not gonna have honey in it, but it's still quite soothing. Now we're gonna do some lavender buds. So people think adding botanicals to soap is a bad idea. They feel that these guys are gonna clog drains, which they can if you shove a handful of lavender down your drain. Yes, that will cause that drain to clog up, and you'll have to call the plumber to help fix that possibly. But I have very long hair, and my drain gets clogged anyways with my hair. So a few little botanicals like this, I don't mind. Since I'm clearing that drain anyways every couple of weeks. And I really like botanicals. I think they're beautiful. I think they make soap just look so lovely. It really turns something necessary like self-care and getting clean into an experience. And how often do we get to turn the mundane into an experience, right? You can turn your whole bathroom into a garden or a forest, or go visit the sea in your mind if you have a sea-scented soap. See, what happened today was pretty stressful when the soap seizes and curdles and rises like that, but because of that lavender essential oil, I'm pretty calm. Yes, I'm sad inside that I didn't get to add my honey, but what can you do? I've actually never made a lavender oatmeal soap before, so this is still a win in my books. I don't know if I'm gonna get some good swirls. I really don't. I think it's gonna look chunky and weird on the inside, but that's okay, it's soap, you know? Soap is soap. I say that as I decorate the tops of soap. So here is the finished soap. It definitely is not the soap that I envisioned or even wanted, but it's still a beautiful soap on the top. I'm not sure what the inside is gonna look like. It's probably not gonna be as swirly and as gorgeous as my usual, but it still has some really great things on the inside of it that make it worthwhile in my eyes. So I'll see you guys tomorrow, and that's when I'm gonna cut these guys into loaves and then into bars, and we can see what that inside looks like. So let's go put this baby to rest, and I need to clean up this huge mess. Hey guys, it is the next day, and this is how the soap looks like a day later. And it's very nice. The tops are smooth, the tops look very creamy, very soothing. Now the question is whether or not that serenity has gone into the actual body of the soap, and we'll be finding that out right now. For those wondering, this slab mold is by Winston and Walter. They are a Canadian company, and an amazing Canadian company at that. They make excellent molds, and I really, really love the business owner. July is amazing, and she really puts a lot of love into these molds, and you'll feel the difference if you ever buy one of these guys. And you'll see why a lot of soap makers use these molds, because they're just excellent. They really are. The quality is incredible. I've had some of her molds now for 7 years, and they have held up. They still are solid. I still use them. So that really does speak a lot to the craftsmanship of these molds. If you guys are interested, there's a link down below. But when it comes to unmolding 24 pounds of soap, I'm not gonna lie, it's pretty heavy, but you just have to make sure that you are lifting things safely, and you're doing so knowing the proper way to lift heavy stuff, because this is the easiest way you can injure yourself, is pulling something by lifting super heavy stuff. This is why I love working with molds that have the silicone liner. It just makes things so easy. So carefully, I like to pull away the tops and the sides, and then I like to switch this over to the other side so that I can pull the soap away from the bottom. And this is how I'm going to be cutting my soap loaves anyway, so it's good to turn it on its side. And once it's free from all of the sides of the mold and I've done all the peeling that I can, then I just peel this back. And I like to rest the soap not directly on the surface that I'm working on, but on wooden platforms like this one, like the mold. It's very, very handy that I can just rest the mold on top of there, and it will make moving a lot of the soap easier because I just rest on there, and that's how I move it around for the most part. So I'm gonna peel it back and then lift. And here is 24 pounds of oatmeal lavender soap. So in order to cut a big slab of soap like this, you need the right tools. I have 2 big cutters, main cutters that I use. This one is by Custom Craft Tools, and this cuts this big slab into loaves, which I will then cut into bars using this guy by the Soap Cutter Pro. I have links to both of these in the description box below. These cutters are pretty pricey. I did not invest in these guys until much later on in my soaping career. So if you are wanting to cut soap, you do not need to be using super expensive, heavy duty stuff like this. You could just use a cheese cutter, which is what I used for a really long time. And then there are those cutters that is just a single wire cutter that comes down. And those are still expensive, but they will serve you well for a really long time until you are ready to move up to a more durable metal multi-bar cutter like this guy. The way that the slab cutter works is you take this single wire over here and you feed it through this part. It's a little awkward. Once you get the hang of it, it's not so bad, but the wire cutter part goes through here and you pick the notch. The notches are pretty close together, so you can really get down to a very specific width if you want to. So once the wire is in, I'm just going to lock it in using these guys. This is $10 on Custom Craft Tools website, and that ensures that the wire doesn't go anywhere. It doesn't move around, which is very, very important. Now, all that there is left to do is to feed your soap slab through the slab cutter. So here's the first slice. Make sure you have enough clearance on the other side so that you're not running into things. Sometimes separating the loaves from the main slab can be tricky. Just gotta work it a little bit and then lift. Wow. This is a very interesting first cut. You can see that little bit of the white swirl in there. You can see how the annatto seed layer really pops, and you can see a clear distinction between the white soap and the slightly darker cream colored soap. This is going to continue to darken over time, and this soap did not have the vanilla in it, so that's why it's a lot more white, and that'll continue to get darker as the soap is exposed to oxygen over the days and weeks. Oh, it smells so good. I love that. All right, so next one. Next slab. So the golden layer is a soap that I infused annatto seed powder in the lye water, that is. And then here's that white swirl, and then that slightly creamier color, which was my tan base. We're gonna keep going. So far, so good. I think I'm feeling optimistic about how these soaps are gonna look. They kind of have a rustic vibe to them, which is always good, I think. Much of the same. I'm really pleased to see not a lot of air bubbles. I've seen a few of them, but I like how that white soap has been able to penetrate into the lower layers of the soap. It's kind of like granite. For those of you who have been to cottage country in Ontario, those beautiful granite shores where the lakes are, that's what this kind of reminds me of. Yep, so this is what I was suspecting would happen. There is a little bit of a hole here from the soap setting up really, really fast. It's a small one, doesn't look too deep, but when this happens, I don't really think too much of it, especially if it's only just the one hole. Right here are the last two soap loaves. And just like that, I turned a 24-pound slab of soap into 6 manageable soap loaves, ready to be cut into bars. Next step is to cut these guys into bars. I will begin with this guy. So who is oatmeal soap for? Oatmeal soap tends to be the kind of soap that you want to recommend to people who are sensitive or who have sensitive skin. At least that's what I do. If someone comes to my table or sends me an email asking about what kind of soap I would recommend, and they have skin that reacts to a lot of things, honey is supposed to be really good for that too, but we all know what happened with the honey that I had planned for the soap. Alright, so the first one, let's go in the middle. Yes, and you can see that this one does have one of those holes in the middle. It's a small hole, but this hole is not caused by overheating or tunneling. It's because the batter was setting up on me quickly, and when batter does that, it tends to trap the air in there. So a way to help prevent that is to give the soap a good slam on the counter, the whole mold, and then the gravity usually fills in those pockets, but I was panicking. I did not think to do that. So I'll probably run into little holes like that for other bars, but again, I don't think that's the biggest deal in the world. We're gonna do these other bars. So you can see for these bars that are really close to each other, the designs are so different. This one's got a little bit of a hole here. And this one has one here as well. So here are the next two. You can see for some of the bars how that annatto seed layer was able to move up towards the majority of the bar, and others not really. I have a more layered look to this guy. And here are the next two. Beautiful. This looks almost like the usual swirls that I do. Here are the last two.
I am so happy with how these soaps turned out. The color of the soap right now is pretty light, but if you want to see what these soaps look like with the vanilla that has changed and turned to brown over time, you can see that on my website because these soaps are for sale and there's a very limited quantity of them, so be sure to snap one up before they're all gone. And I just wanted to say how, yes, soap making can be pretty daunting and overwhelming, but if you have the right attitude, you can definitely turn the most frustrating situations into beautiful soaps. So thank you so much for watching, and if you want to learn how to make these soaps, you can. I have a link to my Patreon where I provide the recipe and I let you know the fragrance blend. and all of the techniques that produce this beautiful bar of soap. So until the next video, keep smiling, keep being awesome, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye guys.